Hey, it's at MiWilderness again. Just made it a little further down the trail and I stumbled on this sulfur shelf mushroom, chicken of the woods. It grows on these old rotten oak trees. This is a pretty good mushroom to know though, and it doesn't have any poisonous lookalikes that I'm aware of. I believe the Latin name is Latiporus sulphureus. But this one looks pretty well infested with bugs. Sometimes they get bugs on them, and hopefully you can see that it has a real rough, kind of lumpy sort of cauliflower texture to it. And that's usually a sign to me that it's not one I want to pick, but it actually looks pretty good. But I think the bugs and stuff get absorbed into this mushroom, and when it's kind of lumpy like that, I don't like messing with it. This one's nice and young. It's yellow underneath and orange on top, and then the flesh itself, hopefully you can see that, is yellow. It kind of fades from orange out to yellow at the tip, but if I was going to harvest this, I'd take my knife and run it in until I feel resistance, and that's all I would harvest. Usually it's about the outer 1 inch of the margin, sometimes 2 inches. There's a couple varieties of this. The yellow port stuff grows right on the tree. And there's a white port variety that grows on the ground from the base of the roots. I like the white port variety better. I think it has a better flavor. But it's a mushroom that you can find in quantity all throughout the summer and right into the early fall. So I figured I'd just show you that. This is the first one I found this year. Usually I find a whole bunch. Usually you could harvest 100 pounds or more if you wanted to. And it sautés up and freezes real nice. You can store it for a long time in your freezer and it comes out tasting just like fresh. I've actually got a whole bunch that I sautéed up last year, so I don't need any more, but I just wanted to show you that. Pretty cool mushroom. I'm gonna get back to hiking down this trail. I got about I'm not sure what I'm gonna do, maybe 6 to 10 miles one way, and then I'm gonna build me a fire and have lunch and head on back. Talk to you when I get there. Cool. Must be getting the time of the season for these sulfur shelf mushrooms. I showed you that yellow port one when I first got out here. Now I come around and I found a really nice white port one. This is Latiporus cincinnatus, or there are a few different Latin names and common names for it, but it's commonly known as sulfur shelf or chicken of the woods. It's a Latiporus species. But this is my favorite one. This one's growing right beside the tree. but a lot of times they'll be out from the tree and they look like they're just growing out of the ground, but they actually grow from the roots of the oak trees, usually oak. Sometimes I've seen them on cherry, but the only ones I harvest from are oak. Because if you harvest these from aromatic trees that have aromatic wood, sometimes they can give you a stomach upset. So I don't know if cherry would be considered an aromatic wood or not, but I find enough of them on oaks and they taste good off of the oaks, so that's what I'm going to stick with because that's what I know. Oh yeah, this one's real fresh. My knife goes way in before I feel any resistance. Show you how I harvest this. I just move around. As you cut it, you'll feel resistance with your knife, and as soon as you feel resistance with your knife, you want to come out a little further, because if you go in too far, it just ends up not tasting as good. But this is what you end up with, and this is the Cincinnatus variety, and it has white pores underneath instead of yellow like the one I showed you earlier. They're both sulfur shelves, they're just little different varieties, different species, but they're all the same genus of mushroom, and they're all edible, and as far as I know, none of them have a poisonous look-alike. But this is a really good eating mushroom, especially this white pored one. You take this home and take it in little strips. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but it almost feels and separates the way cooked chicken breast would. And depending on how you cook it, it can be substituted for chicken breast. And it actually, I'm not a vegetarian or nothing, but it actually works really good for that. I've heard of people making like chicken cacciatore and stuff like that with it, and it's supposedly really good. Typically all I do with it though is I take it home and I just fry it up with a little butter or something. One morning I took some and we had some leftover bacon grease, so I just took a little bit of the bacon grease and got it nice and hot and fried this up real quick, nice and crispy, and it tasted almost just like bacon. I mean, obviously because of the bacon grease, the bacon flavored the mushroom, but it's pretty good, man. And these mushrooms actually do have a lot of good nutrition in them, so I think I'm actually going to harvest this one. And the nice thing about these chicken mushrooms, if you just harvest that outer margin like I showed you, you can come back, and as long as the weather's good, it'll keep growing. So if you find one, you can keep picking off it throughout the year. I picked on one year for over a month. I went back every week and picked like 2 or 3 pounds off the same mushroom. It was pretty cool. And I don't know, I guess that's all I can really think to say. Hope you can see that good in the picture. But this is one mushroom that is very easy to identify. You should still, do your homework and make sure you know what you're picking. Just see how that kind of tears. It almost has the grain and texture of a chicken breast. But the one thing about this mushroom is it does have pores underneath and not gills. If you find a mushroom like this and it has gills, then obviously you found the wrong thing. But that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go ahead and harvest the outer edge of this mushroom and put it in my bag and head on down the trail. I'll talk to you later. Oh, let's see. I wonder if there's any mushrooms around here. Yeah, there is. These chicken of the woods stand out like a sore thumb. They're so easy to find. I'm finding all kinds of them today. This is my third patch, and this is an old oak stump. Some variety of red oak. Might be black oak, or I don't know what it is. It's a variety of red oak. But this log is pretty much just covered. And I found them where there was bigger logs than this. I found them growing up the side of trees 40, 50 feet up the tree. But I just wanted to take a quick video of that again, just to show you how abundant these sulfur shelf or chicken of the woods mushrooms are. They're everywhere. And they're not too bad eating. I'm going to leave this one alone, but it's pretty neat. They seem to be fairly fresh. All three of the ones I found look like they just started growing, except this is another yellow pored one growing right on the wood. It has yellow pores underneath. But all the yellow pored ones that I've found have that rough kind of cauliflower lumpy kind of texture to them, and that usually, to me, that's a sign they got bugs or something, or they've had a lot of leaf litter and stuff fall on them that got absorbed into the flesh. So I tend to not bother with these ones. I only pick the ones that are really nice and fresh. You can pretty much pass up the marginal ones, because generally if you find one, you'll find a bunch more, and you can be picky. Pretty neat though.